you and I, Kyle, have talked a lot about, understanding on a deep level your persona and
Yeah.
how this is really the primary importance that you need to be keen on researching prior to even reaching out. Because a lot of what makes a meeting stick is having a good initial call with this person, actually earning intrigue, earning time. So I'd love for you to go through how to understand your persona on this deep level.
Yeah, so it's such a good point, Caroline. And a lot of what we're talking about, how do you add value to somebody's life? Well, you actually have to understand their life. If
Yeah.
you're just creating blanket statements that have no real connection to the person you're reaching out to, they're not going to care. So you really need to take it upon yourself to learn at these 4 different levels about all of the personas that you sell to. Most of training, unfortunately, stops at the bottom most level you see on the screen here. What do they do? Like, okay, yeah, I understand what a VP of revenue operations does. That's fine. I have the one sheet my product marketing team gave me, and that's enough. It's not enough. You need to really put yourself in their shoes, read the things that they read, subscribe to the newsletters that they subscribe to, the blogs, whatever it may be, like listen to the podcasts that they listen to. All of this stuff is really easy to do. It takes you, it's incumbent on you to go and do it. If you really want to add value to somebody's life, if you really want to be able to speak to them as a peer, you have to understand what they do at a deep, deep level. And some of that will come from, the normal course of your prospecting and the one-on-one conversations you have with them, but you accelerate the learning curve by going out of your way and doing the things that you see on the screen. This is something that I've worked with thousands of SDRs, thousands of sellers in my career. 1% of people do this.
Yeah.
You will stick out. It takes time. It does take time.
And this one, like, I didn't even, to be honest, Kyle, I hadn't even thought of this when I was an SDR, like thinking about how they are measured, like
Yeah.
what are their KPIs? This is so important, right? Like,
Absolutely. Yeah. Because if I don't actually know what success looks like to them, then I
mhm.
can't speak to how I'm going to make them successful.
Right.
And so much of success, it has to be quantifiable. And so knowing the KPIs, knowing the metrics, knowing the things that actually matter to them and how they will be measured, what's going to determine whether or not you get promoted? What's going to determine whether or not you get budget for another thing? Normally, there are some metrics that matter to these folks. And if you do what you saw on the previous slide and you're reading and listening and living in their world, you're going to start to pick up on these things. You're going to
Mhm.
start to learn new metrics. And then you're going to be able to tailor your messaging around these metrics to say, here's how we improved this company's customer acquisition cost. And we can do something similar for you. Here's how we decreased your sales onboarding time and increased rep productivity to the point where they had whatever sort of margins they had on their sales. Like, you're going to learn all these different ways of communicating that are much more meaningful because they're based in metrics.